News media bias. I want to give you a perfect example today of how a talking head can be biased and essentially trying to avoid the elephant in the room. Now, we've heard the term fake news for years. Obviously, Trump uses the term a hell of a lot himself, but I can recall Sarah Palin, the lamestream media fake news. She was saying it during the 2008 McCain-Palin campaign against Barack Obama. So it's been around for a while. But I want to give you a extremely well-known commentator doing his best to give you biased statements. And I'll just play it for you, and you should easily be able to see the bias and him avoiding the elephant in the room. Check this out.
So Jimmy Carter, I think, was a decent man and honest. I know he's an honest man, which separates him from Joe Biden, who's not an honest man, in my opinion. Trump, different situation. But in public service, Carter was, I don't think he enriched himself. In fact, I know he didn't, whereas a lot of presidents did. I mean, the Obamas are living real large. Not saying they're doing anything wrong because they're on boards and they give lectures and write books. It's all legitimate. But Carter didn't even do that. I mean, he went back to planes and he wasn't really interested in money. I think that's true.
Now, he's speaking favorably about the morality of the late President Jimmy Carter. Now, to be candid, Bill O'Reilly believes that Jimmy Carter was one of the worst presidents in U.S. history. A lot of people do. Jimmy Carter would not go down in history as a great president. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the clear elephant in the room. I'm sure you heard in that quick minute clip I played. Now, two things were discussed. First, he talked about honest politicians versus dishonest politicians. And then he talked about, who made money or, as he said, enriched themselves from the office. Now, he clearly favors the morality of Jimmy Carter. He said that Jimmy Carter was indeed an honest man. And he used the contrast of criticizing Joe Biden as being a dishonest version of a politician. Now, he doesn't like Biden. Fair enough. He thinks also I think he said Biden is the second worst president in history. So fair enough. He doesn't like Joe Biden like a lot of Americans do not like Joe Biden. But obviously, if you're going to bring up honest and dishonest politicians, that conversation cannot go on without talking about the guy that's going to take office in the next 6 days or so. So you hear what he says. Carter was an honest politician, unlike Joe Biden. And with Trump, it's a different story. What the hell does that mean, Bill O'Reilly? Either he's honest or he's not. What the hell does a different story mean? Now, Bill O'Reilly is a longtime friend and associate of President Trump. He says they've been friends for about 30 years, long before Trump became a politician. And it shows in this clip. Bill O'Reilly's audience consists primarily of Republicans, a hell of a lot of MAGA, and we know MAGA are not favorable to any talking head that's critical of Trump. And that shows in what Bill O'Reilly is doing. How the hell could you say with Trump it's a different story? Either he is honest or he is dishonest. There is no different story involved. But I'm sure many of you heard that. And of course, Bill O'Reilly did not take a second to explain what the hell is meant by a different story. He didn't want to call Trump honest because we can all point to things that Trump said that are not true. But of course, to save his audience, he didn't want to criticize Trump. So he filled in the blank with some different story bullshit that really says nothing other than I don't want to call the guy honest. But let me know in the comments, what do you believe the definition of a different story is? What do you think he was trying to say with that? And then, of course, he also gave the late Jimmy Carter credit for not using the office of president to enrich himself. And once again, he contrasts Jimmy Carter doing what's right with a politician that did what's somewhat wrong. And that is the Obamas. He brought up that Jimmy Carter didn't use the office to enrich himself, but the Obamas, as he say, are living large. The Obamas are getting paid. Once again, leading to the same point with a different story quote. Why would you go back to the Obamas enriching themselves when you've had both Biden and Trump in office more recent in latter years? And the obvious elephant in the room is the fact that Trump is literally selling everything after becoming president. Books, Bibles, tennis shoes, watches, all sorts of shit. He got websites, gettrumpwatch.com, gettrumpsneakers.com. And he's going to bring up the Obamas when you got a far more recent example. This is what I'm talking about in regards to bias in the media. He does not want to criticize Trump, so he's reaching to find whatever else he can to avoid pointing out Trump. To bring up that the Obamas enriched themselves is almost laughable when you consider how much the Obamas were worth when Barack Obama became president. I believe on their taxes, because they forked over their taxes unlike Trump did when he took office. And I believe their net worth was like around $250,000, maybe like $250,000 or something like that. Essentially meaning simply by Barack Obama winning the election, just the pay that the president gets alone double their household salary. So of course they're living large. He got a much better job. It ain't got nothing to do with him doing anything corrupt, just becoming president doubled their salary. And then of course they're writing books. Now they're getting paid for speaking engagements and all the other stuff. So yeah, they're going to be living large because they were making such a low income comparably to every single president in our lifetime. The Reagans, the Bushes, the Bidens, the Trumps, all of them were making significantly more than Obama when he took office. So you're going to bring up the poor man that got a promotion as the guy that's living large. Meanwhile, you're going to totally ignore the fact that not only is Trump selling all sorts of stuff based upon him running for office, I mean, just the MAGA hats alone, 70 plus million, almost 80 million people voted for Trump. Probably at least half of them have MAGA hats. How much money? $10, $20 a hat. Hell, I got 5 of the damn hats myself. So imagine how much money he's made from the office of the presidency. Now, I'm not saying Trump did a damn thing wrong by doing that. If you can find an opportunity, by God, cash in on it. But to compare, when you're talking about a president that has enriched themselves from the office, to bring up the Obamas and skip over Trump, that has to be done deliberately. It makes no sense. So I just wanted to point this out. This is how bias in the media works when you want to protect a friend and attack a foe. Perfect example of it. Obamas? You know, I mean, Trump is selling watches alone that are worth $100,000. That's probably damn near what some of Obama's speaking engagements pay for one watch. This is hilarious. Let your boy know in the comments, though, what does it mean if somebody asks you, is this person an honest individual, and you refer to that as a different story? What does that mean? Feel free to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll laugh about this in the next video. Catch you later.